Hey, yo, brothers. I'm watching this interview with Billy Carson. Billy Carson is known for his quote unquote series or Instagram page called Forbidden Knowledge, where he talks about things such as the Anunnaki, Egyptology, the Bible, spirituality, various historical things. The brother is very intelligent. The brother is very informed on a lot of things. But there's a difference between information and knowledge. There's a difference between knowledge and wisdom and understanding. A lot of times, what I find with people that don't believe in the Bible and people that have something against the Most High, the God of the Bible, is a lot of times they want to worship themselves. They're mad because God won't show his face to them. And that's the biggest thing. A lot of people are upset that God won't show their face to him, that there's a faith-based component to the scriptures. And when you read the scriptures, your faith will increase. But the problem is a lot of these people don't read the scriptures. And if they do read the scriptures, they're not reading it from its proper narrative and context. If you read the scriptures understanding that it's not teaching you religion and that it's teaching you a way of life through knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, and it is a culture that was given unto the nation of Israel, and it tells you that in Deuteronomy, the 4th chapter, the 5th and 6th verse, that it was knowledge, wisdom, and understanding that he gave to the nation of Israel, so that the other nations could see these laws, statutes, and commandments and say to themselves, this is a wise and understanding people. This is and that was based in the Torah, the first 5 books of the Bible. And then we have the completion of the Old Testament when we have Christ. Now the word and the law is made perfect. Now we are redeemed. We operate according to grace. And that does not mean that we do not keep the law, statutes, and commandments. All that means is that we have repentance and we have time to get better each and every day. And that none of us are perfect, but we strive to get better every day. And we are followers of Christ because Christ is that intermediary between God and man. The ultimate intermediary between God and man. But let's go ahead and tap into this.
It's not coming from a heavenly source. In other words, nobody is coming down from God, from space, and then writing this stuff themselves and saying, here's the book, I'm giving it to you directly for me. It's always a man's hand.
Right.
Brothers, I see this a lot. I hear this a lot in my life experience when it's come to knowledge. And a lot of people talk about how the God of the Bible is written by man. It is man-made. By that logic, everything is man-made. 99.99% of information that we're coming across on a day-to-day basis is going to be man-made. That's just simple as that. A man wrote it. Something we have to understand when it comes to the Bible is the reason why the Most High doesn't have things written on stones and things of that nature is because people would idolize, turn those things, that stone into an idol. That's all they would do for one. Even people today, they still are talking about the Ark of the Covenant and they turn that into an idol. But above and beyond that, in general, there's a faith-based component when it comes to the scriptures. And that's simple as that. When it comes to God, not even God, but just writing things on paper and not writing things on stone. This is the reason why so many Egyptologists believe that Egypt is the true way and the light. And that's a whole nother conversation. We'll dive into that later.
A piece of paper and a pen, or a stylus and a Sumerian tablet. And so I believe that God does exist because the quantum physics and the quantum mechanics the science proves in the existence of a creator, because we're living in a creation.
And that's very good that he can acknowledge that. I have no issue with a person saying they don't believe in the God of the Bible, but to say that there's no evidence of a God, that there is no evidence of a creator, is foolishness completely. The scriptures say there is a fool says there is no God. That's what the scriptures say, man. Come on now. There's no way that you can say there is no God. This life has too much meaning and too much purpose. Everything is made with a function, a meaning, a purpose. If you took your blood vessels out of your body, they would stretch across the entire earth. That's how tightly compacted your blood vessels are inside of your body. When you look at the human eye, when you look at how the human brain works, when you study things like the pineal gland, when you start doing these things, the heart rate, the energy flows and frequencies, we're not just physical beings. We're spiritual beings. We're intellectual beings. Our brains literally have brainwave frequencies, and that's the way we're able to communicate with one another telepathically almost. I can feel your vibe. I can feel your energy in the room. You're talking to somebody on the phone, and you still have a connection with this person on the phone. Why? Because your sound waves are energy. Your music is an energy source. It's all about transferring of energy. That's what we do. We exchange energy with one another. That's why human beings, we're social creatures. And in general, if you want to harm a human being more than anything, what you should do is just remove them from other people and isolate them and separate them from all people. That's what they do in prison. They put you in a hole. They separate you from other people, and what'll happen is over time, it'll drive you crazy because once again, we need that energy transfer from person to person. That's what sexual energy is. You're transferring sexual energy between two people. It's just various energy. We crave different forms of energy. Oftentimes, what we call or what we refer to in the flesh as different feelings and hormones and emotions, on a spiritual level, these things are being gratified as well.
We're living in a fractal holographic matrix. So that's
Yes, we are living in a holographic matrix from the standpoint that everything that we're doing and everything that we've done has been predestined and pre-written down. And what that means is that we're living in a real life simulation, brothers. We're living in a real life simulation. Every day is a simulation. We've already lived it. We've already done it. It's already been written. The Most High exists outside of the concept and the realm of time, but we do. We exist within time. That's the beauty of the Most High, and that's the phenomenal thing about the Most High is the Most High knows everything that's going to happen before it happens. Like, why would he be God if he didn't know that? He allows us to experience it in real time, so it feels like we're living the real life, and it feels like we have this free will. But in all honesty, we really don't, because we already are living scripted lives. The scriptures tells us in Genesis, the first chapter, that God saw the light, and he saw that the light was good, and he divided the light from the darkness. Now, why would he say that he saw the light was good? Because from the very beginning, there was light energy and dark energy. From the very beginning, there were children of the light and children of the darkness. From the very beginning, everything was predestined for you to either be on the light path or the dark path. From the very beginning, the vast majority of people in this realm, this world, are going to end up on the dark path. And the beauty of life is that everyone is born uncorrupted. You're born into a corruptible body, but we're all born uncorrupted. There's no such thing as a child being born into that alphabet movement or none of that stuff. That's not how that works. Children are born innocent. Children are born ignorant. They know nothing. They've done nothing. They only know what you teach them. They only know what they see. Literally, children do everything they see others around them do. So if they see everybody around them reading and cleaning up and doing positive things, they're going to mimic that. But if they see a bunch of arguing and fighting and negativity, what they're going to do is mimic that. And that's the problem. A lot of people are bringing children into this world, and they are bringing them into an unproductive environment. Now, some children can transcend that for whatever reason. It's just amazing that some children can overcome their environment, but the vast majority won't.
provable. But these books are written by men, and these men that they're talking about.
Well, yeah, these books are written and published by man. They are. And that's how the Most High works. He works through prophets. He works through the apostles. He works through man. He rules the earth through man. That's what the Most High does. He rules the earth through man. Man is how he expresses his magnificence on a physical level. That's it. It's basically like a game of chess, and he expresses his will through man.
That they're calling gods aren't really God. The word God in the Bible, for example, is mistranslated. There should be an S on the end of every word that says God, singular.
The word God in the Bible in Hebrew means Elohim, which just means power. All the word God means is power. So when you brothers are reading the scriptures and you see that word God pop up, 90% of the time it just means power. Sometimes it just means the Most High. Sometimes it means the Most High and the angels. But the majority of the time it just says power. When you're reading Genesis, in the scriptures, it says during the time of creation, and let us create them. It uses terms like that and uses statements and phrases like that The reason why it uses statements and phrases like that is because God and the angels, God commissioned the angels to create this realm that we see, this world that we see.
Should be plural. If you go back and really analyze the translation of the word God, it should be gods everywhere.
Really?
It took off the S to usher in monotheism, the monotheistic mindset of a one God religion. But it really is gods. And even God slips up a few times in that book. Whoever wrote it says, there'll be no other gods but me, right?
The reason why the Most High said there will be no other gods but me, and that he's a jealous God and things of that nature, is because the nation of Israel were coming out of Egypt, and Egypt had other gods. They operated according to a polytheistic religion, for one, or spiritual way of life. But be above and beyond that, these other nations of people, they had their gods. They had other gods that they served. The Most High wanted the nation of Israel to be set apart. He said, I'm your God. You're not allowed to have any other gods. You're not allowed to worship any other gods. You're not allowed to believe in any other gods. And brothers, a lot of scriptures in the Old Testament aren't going to make full sense until you get into the New Testament. Because in the New Testament, Christ said that you cannot serve God and mammon. No servant can have two masters. And that's the same thing when it comes to serving the Most High. You cannot have two masters. You have to make a decision. Are you going to be with the Most High, or are you going to be with the world? Are you going to be with the Most High, or are you going to celebrate and worship these other deities? There were other deities placed on earth to be set up as idols for man to follow, and just to deceive the masses. I mean, the scriptures tell us in 2 Thessalonians that I will send them a strong delusion that they may believe a lie. So the Most High sends people delusions, not just regular delusions, but strong delusions that they believe lies. So the 99% of these religions, 99% of these people that are serving these religions, they're going to just follow these religions into their own destruction. That's what the scriptures basically tell us.
I am the one. I'm a jealous God. I don't want to.
Yes, he's a jealous God. I don't want you serving other gods other than me. You cannot serve me and serve Baal. You cannot serve me and serve Allah. You cannot serve me and serve Osiris. You cannot serve me and serve Cupid, Bacchus, Saturn, Neptune, whatever gods you want to worship, man. You can only serve the Most High. The Most High is not affiliated with these other gods. If you want to serve me, you have to serve me through the Spirit of Christ.
That comes from Amun-Ra, aka Marduk, from ancient Kemet. That really doesn't come from the creator of the universe.
Yes, yes, a lot of the things that are stated in the book of Exodus, because that's when you first see the concept of there being a jealous God, or the Most High referring to himself and saying, I am a jealous God, is when the nation of Israel was coming out of Egypt. The reason for that is because when the nation of Israel was coming out of Egypt, they were there under hard oppression and bondage for over 400 years, damn near. And they learned a lot of the ways, the traditions, and the customs of the nation of Israel. So the Most High had to give them laws, statutes, and commandments so that they can be set apart and different from the Egyptians. That's what the whole book of Exodus, Deuteronomy, Numbers, and Leviticus is really about. Giving the nation of Israel a culture for when they go into the land of Israel, or what's called in the Bible the land of Canaan. That's what that was all about. That's why the vast majority of the people that left Egypt didn't go into Israel, because they couldn't shed off that Egyptology mindset. They couldn't shed off that culture of Egypt as well. That's the reason why. For example, a lot of our people today, if the Most High raised up a prophet, and that prophet was supposed to lead us out of America, the vast majority of our people would reject that prophet and would reject God and wouldn't make it. And the reason for that is because they can't let go of the American culture, this Greco-Roman culture that we call America. They wouldn't be able to let go of the Christmas, the holidays. They wouldn't be able to let go of the clubbing, the parties and all that stuff. They wouldn't be able to let go of all the entertainment in this society. They wouldn't be able to let go of it. And it was the same thing back then. In general, they weren't able to let go of a lot of the aspects of that society. Their brains were too plugged into that society, and more so than anything, their spirits were plugged into that society. And they weren't Israelites, they were Egyptians. And that was the problem. So they had to have a culture so that they could overcome that. That's the reason why the Most High says you can't, tells us not to dress a certain way and tells us to wear certain garments and fabrics. Once again, it was given as a culture unto the nation of Israel so that the nation of Israel could be set apart. He wanted them to be set apart from in every way possible, even down to the way that they dressed. You don't wear the same fabrics as any of these other nations of people. You're going to look completely different. There's going to be a distinction between the nation of Israel and the rest of the world.
In the book of Deuteronomy, all these wars that are happening and occurring, and God is sending people halfway around, their region to kill, murder, and torture other people because he says one person over there doesn't believe in me.
Well, when you first really start seeing wars is in the book of Joshua, which is the book after Deuteronomy. But I get what he's saying.
And I want you to kill the women, kill the children, kill babies. It even says you can take the virgins as wives. Now you have abduction, and then bring the spoils back to me. Well, why does God need?
Okay. Something we have to understand is the spoils. When the God of the Bible says he bring the spoils back to me, that's talking about their gold, their silver, their treasures. You bring that back to the Most High. You burn that, and you present that as an offering and a sacrifice, and you also present that as really just an offering. That's what you do. Thank you, God. Look, and if you do that, and you show yourself obedient to the Most High, He'll bless you even more. That's how the Most High works. But above and beyond all that, something we have to understand is the God of the Bible is a God of war. He is a man of war. He tells us that. At the end of the day, you conquer people, and you go from there. That's how the God of the Bible is. I have no problem with a person not believing in the God of the Bible. They opening up the Bible and saying, "Yo, this isn't for me." I have no problem with a person saying that. That's cool being, sir. My issue is when a person claims to believe in the Bible and they really don't. That's my issue. My issue is when a person acts as though they believe in the God of the Bible when they don't, because they don't believe in the God of the Bible that told Saul to go utterly destroy the Amalekites, to kill the babies, to kill the old, the young, the animals, the women, children, everything, to utterly destroy a nation of people. That's not the God they believe in, and the reason why the God of the Bible told him to do that is a whole nother conversation for another day. And the reason why I say that is because that's a biblical breakdown. I'd like to just pull out my precepts and go word for word, line for line with that. But in general, there's a reason for that.
Spoils. You see? So you can tell this is all man-based. This is not God, real heavenly based.
Wow. So how do you view modern day religion? Do you see it as a net positive, or do you see it being manipulated to control the way people think?
I see modern day religion as a mental prison system.
I can't blame you for that, because a lot of people are enslaved by the concept of religion. A lot of people are enslaved by their beliefs. Brothers, when you believe something, there's nothing more powerful than the concept and the power of belief. When you get somebody to believe something, it does something to their brain. It's hard for them to let it go. The scriptures tell us that you can't put old wine into new bottles. The same thing with your brain. You have to unlearn to relearn. Before you can learn new knowledge, sometimes you have to unlearn old knowledge. That's the problem. A lot of people in the church system, man, they've been taught a certain way about the Bible. They've been taught that the Bible says certain things and means certain things, and they've been taught so many scriptures out of context and things of that nature, to the point where they can't even receive the real gospel. They can't even receive the true gospel, because they're too caught up in the religious component of the Bible, not being caught up in actually reading the Bible and what it actually says. People in religion, they still celebrate Christmas. In Jeremiah the 10th chapter, the 3rd and 4th verse, it tells you that the customs of the heathen are vain. They cut off a tree out of the forest and they deck it with silver. Brothers, what is that talking about? That's talking about Christmas, obviously. And it says that it's a heathen custom. The Christmas is about, it was known in the Roman pagan world as the Saturnalia. Saturnalia is for the god Saturn. What else? Christmas is for the birth of the sun god, or Mithras, Heru, Horus, whatever you want to call it, Apollo, whatever you want to call it. That's what that's for, man. So that's what we have to understand, man. The origin of these days. Where do these days really come from?
It's a way to mentally enslave the masses of people, and it's worked phenomenally. Because if you look
Yeah, it has worked phenomenally. It has.
at religion, just Christianity alone generates more money in 1 year than all the Silicon Valley corporations, tech corporations combined. You're talking about a multi-trillion-dollar industry that has a lot of potential weight that they can push into politics financially. And so you're talking about a protected industry.
Brothers, I'm going to go ahead and sign out of this video. I'm going to make a part 2 to it.